Hi, I'm Jude Belanger. I'm with Wilton Drive Voice, a nonprofit 501c3, and our mission is to safeguard LGBTQ plus culture for future generations. Culture means a lot of things to different people, but also it means where you are and where you are in Wilton Manors. And there's some big projects happening here, one particularly at the Alibi Plaza, i.e. Shoppes of Wilton Manors. And I'm here with Commissioner Don Darminio,
Hey guys.
who's going to tell us some interesting facts about this project that relates to culture, cultural preservation possibly, but it is a big building and it has done a little bit of stirring in the city. So Don,
Okay.
Mr. Commissioner Darminio.
Well,
tell me.
thank you for having me here today. I appreciate the opportunity to set the record straight on everything that's happening. So we're talking about the Alibi Hunter Shopping Center here, which is commonly known as the Shoppes of Wilton Manors. And it's really comprised of two buildings. Building one is the one that's anchored by Alibi and Hunters. And I think we all recognize the importance of that building and really those businesses. Those buildings, those businesses are really part of the fabric of our community, of our LGBT culture, and they really contributed to the success of our arts. So we just want to make sure that that building and those businesses are protected. So let's shift to the other. Well, I'm happy to report that that building will remain intact, as well as all the businesses.
From Hunters to Alibi.
From
that
Hunters
side,
to Alibi,
yeah.
that building, nothing will happen. Everything will remain the same. So let's shift our focus to the other half of the plaza, and that's Building 2, which housed the Sherman-Williams paint store. That building will be replaced by a mixed-use building. It's comprised of 252 residential units and approximately 24,000 square feet of retail space.
At about 8 stories.
It's actually 7 stories.
Seven
The
stories.
building is 7 stories. That building has historically been an issue. I've been in Wilton Manors for 16 years now. Businesses have come and gone. It's set way back, so it's more of an obsolete building. So I'm happy to see that one be replaced by a new building that will become, in my mind, a vibrant city center. It'll be pushed up to the front on the corner. We'll have shops along Wilton Drive, along 7th Avenue. There's also a 5-story parking garage behind this building, which will not only support the residents, but also the businesses in the shops, as well as probably some of the other businesses. So to understand really what we're talking about here, you have to know a little bit about the city code. So I just want to talk about that for a moment. The Shoppes of Wilton Manors, that parcel is a 5-acre parcel. So maximum residential density for that plaza is 60 units an acre. So if I take 60 units, 60 residential units an acre, times the 5 acres, they are in theory allowed to build 300 residential units. Now, what was approved in the site plan is they're really stacking all of the residential units on half the plaza. So we're leaving Alibi Hunters intact, and we're replacing the back building, the Sherman-Williams building, and really using up the majority of their density. So our concern as a city was once this building is built, we didn't want them subdividing the parcel and spinning off Alibi Hunters to another developer. So that's where we did what we could to really protect our businesses by doing what they call a unification of title.
Okay.
And it forever links the two buildings together. That 5-acre parcel cannot be split, separated, sold off. They are forever linked. So, and most people really don't understand that, and I get it because they don't understand the city code. But as a city, we do. We work with our attorneys, and we felt that this really adds the most protection that we can give to our core businesses, Alibi, Hunters, Will Manors, and all the other businesses.
So the protection of the culture that we're looking at Just make sure I get this right too,
Sure,
because this is
of
a
course.
little, if you're not on planning and zoning or commissioner in the city, this may be confusing, but that whole plaza itself is now one title, and they've used up all their allotted, I guess, credits
Residential density.
for units or whatever, residential density on half of it. That means in the
Correct.
future, they could never really go back and add more units to the Alibi Hunter side. It's practically protected, because if they do anything else, it would be impossible, because they would have to get more allocation for more units.
They won't get an allocation of more units. Again, they stacked their density on half of the parcel. If you can follow it, it's a 5-acre parcel, so let's call it 2.5 acres, and then the other 2.5 acres is Alibi Hunters. And what they're doing is they're using up the majority of their density, stacking it on one side of the parcel. So again, we have linked the two together through what they call the unification of title, so that they can sell off or split up that parcel. It can't be sold to another developer. And in our mind, that adds the most protection we can give our businesses that we know of. So I think it's a good decision. I actually think the project as a whole is a really positive build-up. It's a positive complex for our culture, for our city, for that parcel. We're replacing a one-story obsolete building set way back that has historically been a problem, and we're replacing that with a new mixed-use building, a vibrant city center. And it's also important to note that I believe the developers understand the culture, they understand where they are. And I will point out that the units that will be built are all studios, 1-bedrooms, and 2-bedrooms. There are no 3-bedrooms. I've seen that in other complexes, not here. So I think they understand who they expect to live there. And we'll be having people live right on the property where to support our local businesses and really our LGBT culture.
And let me ask you a question about this as far as our culture. What would be metrics or measurements that you would define moving into the future? How our culture is doing, like a check-in. For what is our culture doing here? Are we diminishing because new projects are moving in, or are we re-transforming into a new culture, or are we, going to become Las Olas and just a bunch of high-end restaurants and all the LGBTQ plus stuff moves on?
Okay, well, I just finished my first year on the commission and my first year through the budget season. And what I found really interesting as a measure, real estate values are up everywhere.
Yeah.
But when we focus on the city of Wilton Manors, we're a little 2-square-mile city, a couple miles from the ocean. We've seen among the highest increases anywhere in our county. Our values from the Broward County Tax Assessor, the market value of our real estate in the Wilton Manors went up 16.88% in 1 year. And, we're not seeing that in Fort Lauderdale, you're not seeing that in Oakland Park, we're seeing it in Wilton Manors. And, it begs the question, why is that?
That's interesting. Why is that?
Yeah, well, I believe it's because of our LGBTQ culture. I live right off Wilton Drive. I live 2 houses off Wilton Drive. And it's amazing the amount of homes that are being bought, leveled, and redeveloped. Because people not only want to live in Wilton Manors, but they want to live adjacent to the Arts and Entertainment District, adjacent to Wilton Drive.
So, okay, great. Our Wilton Manors is a very special LGBTQ plus culture, that's for sure. And
Absolutely.
there are other somewhat very centralized places around, like Palm Springs, P-Town. Some places have diminished a little bit, but some places are getting really stronger. What was it besides, being gay and being with the sunshine in South Florida every day in beaches that brought you here, in particular with the culture that's happening in Wilton?
Well, I had been visiting Fort Lauderdale since I was in college back in the early 80s. And of course I had no idea about Wilton Manors back then because it really wasn't on the map. There was no LGBT culture 40 years ago. But years later, a friend of mine had told me about Wilton Manors, and we came to Fort Lauderdale.
When was that?
Well, this is many years ago, going back probably 25 years ago.
25 years.
And we started visiting Wilton Manors, and we made those Wilton Manors our destination for vacations. And during one of our visits, we were staying down at the beach, and it was a cloudy day. So we decided to go shopping in Wilton Manors for a condo, just to go see what was available. And because it was a rainy day at the beach, we ended up buying a condo in Wilton Manors, 1 block off Wilton Drive. That's a true story. So that was our introduction to Wilton Manors, and I remember being so excited, thinking, wow, we actually own a piece of paradise. Like, in my mind, Wilton Manors was paradise. We have the warm weather, the beaches, but we have the LGBT culture that I can walk to 1 block away.
Which is decades strong, by the way. It's not something new. It's decades and decades.
And it's changed a lot. I'm going back now. We bought our first condo here in Wilton Manors 15 years ago. So we've lived through a lot of the positive changes. We've watched the city grow. We've watched our culture grow. And I will tell you, I think a lot of our residents started out by visiting our city, and they fell in love with it, just like we did.
Would you say part of the culture or the draw here is the arts and entertainment district? Is that the draw? That's like the #1 draw to Wilton Manors? Do you believe?
Without question, that is the arts and entertainment district. That is the nucleus of our city. We are now a worldwide destination, and it's not because, no offense, it's not because of Power Line or it's everyone wants to come to the arts and entertainment district. It's our LGBTQ culture. The bars, the shops, the restaurants. They want to be a part of it.
What type of growth would you like to see as a commissioner moving forward in Wilton Manors?
I think our growth, it's finally happening in a way that it should happen. We're growing slowly. We just approved the site plan for the Shoppes of Wilton Manors, so that's 252 apartments. We just approved another apartment complex on 24th Street. That's for 190 residential units. We have a potential hotel coming in. So I think we're growing slowly, which is the way we should be growing. We don't want too much all at once, and we don't want all this construction that there's so much congestion that no one can get around. So I'd like to see us continue to grow slowly over the next few years. But, clearly we have obsolete buildings that need to be redeveloped. And I'm really thrilled to be part of that, to have a voice in that decision-making process, and really to be a city commissioner in a city that I love.
That's great. Wilton Manors is lucky to have this guy.
Well, thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thanks today.
All
Thank
right.
you for being part of the voice on Wilton Drive today.
Thank you for having me. It's always a
You're welcome.
pleasure to see you.
And we'll see you again and have you on again.
All right. I look
Thank
forward
you.
to that. Thank you.